This is the S&P 500 Spider ETF SPY 1-month overview reading for the month of April 2025. It's currently March 22nd, 2025, 10:09 p.m. Eastern Time. We're redoing this SPY reading for April. We had it out several days ago, but after completing all of the equity readings for April, it became clear I needed to re-record SPY. So here we are doing the REDUX. SPY at the time of this reading, $563.98 USD, and the shuffle video for the SPY reading for April was created on March 20th, 2025 at 10:28 p.m. Eastern Time. So what we're going to cover in this video is the overall trend direction and chart behavior for the month of April. We're going to give you chart behavior around the month's highest high and the month's lowest low. And then we're going to review February's reading, see how we did for accuracy before coming back, giving you the day-by-day sequence of chart events and the best trades that we see throughout the month. And the timing of the highest high and the lowest low to the day. Now, it's important to understand a couple of things, guys. First off, the sequence of chart events is what we're predicting. The timing is secondary. Often, it's going to be right to the day, but there'll be plenty of examples where you need to give it plus or minus a day or two of wiggle room. It's the sequence of chart events as outlined by the prediction that you should pay closest attention to. And for that reason, that's the main reason why I do not recommend trading this information without access to our Discord trade alerts and trading view chart drawings that you get as part of the early access subscription. Just don't do it, guys. Think of this video as a guide to our expectations of what trades we expect to be making throughout the month. But it's the Discord trade alerts for day trades and swing trades in real time. That's where, if you're serious about trading, that's where you want to be. Again, I'll show you how to get that. Stay tuned for that at the end of the video. Now, before we get into it, I just want to make sure you're aware the whole purpose of the channel is to transmute some of the competitive energy of the stock market into goodwill. Now, we do that by following through on the rule of karma for the channel. You go to the resources tab of our website, tarotfortraders.com. 5% of all profits from this information should be donated forward to one of these charities. 5% of all profits should be donated back to the channel through one of these links. It leaves you at 90%. It effectively continues the flow of abundance through the universe and transmutes competitive energy into goodwill. It expresses gratitude, and gratitude begets gratitude, my friend. That's the way of tithing. Okay, so make sure to follow through on that rule. Spend that 90% out of love. As long as you follow those rules, you're an angel investor of the channel. Universe will send it back to you tenfold for following through. Not to mention, you'll get my attention. We'll put you into the angel investor chat channel, among other things that are only for angel investors. All right, guys, let's get into it here. So the overall theme and behavior for the month of April, we've got an important resistance level on a one-year chart scale. This will be important, and we'll rally into it pretty notably. When meeting it, we should turn around and decline pretty notably out of it. That's one possible scenario. The other possible scenario is that we rally into it, there's three pokes through it, and then a sharp drop down. It's hard to say which two of those options it is right off the bat, but as we get into the reading, we'll be able to see it with more clarity. So the rally into key resistance, important on a one-year chart scale. Everything that I talk about is going to be important on a multi-day chart, on the scale of a multi-day chart with one-day candlesticks unless otherwise specified. So here we are, rally into key resistance, important on a one-year chart scale. We decline from it, either three pokes through it and then a decline, or just an abrupt decline. And usually we'll decline past the point at which the rally into the resistance started. It's crossed with these three pokes through the same trend line, followed by a sharp drop off of that third poke. And the reason why I'm not positive that's three pokes through that resistance is because sometimes that trend line is not horizontal. Sometimes it's to the downside. Sometimes it's to the upside. We'll look at it in more detail as we progress. Behavior around the highest high. We successfully turn resistance into support at the high. So we should see some sideways rotation successfully establishing support momentarily at least. And then behavior around the low, we should have a rally that turns over, creating a crest near the low. This could indicate that there's two lows. It could just indicate that there's an important peak and a crest that forms within close time proximity to the low for the month. Again, as we progress, we'll be able to see that with more clarity. Now, before we go any further into the April reading, get into the day-by-day sequence of chart events, let's take a look at February and see how we did. I think we were probably a little bit late on the low, on the low, but we had a highest high the last day of the following month. We had that there, and then we had a lowest low somewhere around the third, fourth, a lowest low thus far, should I say, somewhere around the third, fourth, and possibly again around the sixth, seventh. And you can see how right here On the 4th, we had a lowest low thus far. A peak or crest that formed on the 6th as well. And there you go. That's the 5th, 6th. 6th. There we go. Peak or crest formed, followed by a sharp drop. Another lowest low or close here was scheduled for the 10th, and it looks like we were a day off there. The sharp drop ended up being there on the 7th, but you can see how in real time I was already on it, and we have this marked off as where there was a low. A good example of the plus or minus a day of wiggle room and why it's important to have the early access subscription with the trade alerts. And then we went into a high around, I have it for the 24th, 25th, and it ended up being on the 19th, 20th. So we were a little bit late on the low, and then it was followed by another lowest low for the month at the very end of the month, and you can see how that came to fruition. So sequence of chart events, the overall chart pattern, very, very accurate. We were just a little bit late on the highs there. Excuse me, on the highs there. Really not as late as it seems, it's because we've got a weekend there in between the two. But even so, we would have had people entering into with the Discord entering into short positions here on the 20th, and that would have put them right there, getting into short positions, and we would have had them hold those short positions into the following month. Most likely is what we talked about doing. Unless there was possibility here at the end of the month. Either way, you would have had a choice if there was. Just some of the profitable trades. All of that, guys. And if you're wondering, the February reading was conducted. The shuffle video was created on January 11th, 2025 at 7:35 p.m. Eastern time, just a few days before my car accident. You can see I'm still wearing the brace. I don't wear it all day. It's gradually going away, but when I sit down in a chair like this, it's a little difficult still, so over time it'll heal. It was January 15th, guys. That was so not long ago. Crazy, crazy, crazy. All right, guys, so let's get into the sequence of chart events here. So we had it looks like we have a lot of price change the last day of the preceding month. So in March, a lot of price change. Interesting, here on the 31st, a rally's halted with a sharp decline. So we imagine that's probably a sharp decline there. Decline likely continues into the 1st. There's sideways rotation, big move higher, and then it looks like a unicursal hexagram drop there from that big move higher into a prominent trough on a 1-month scale. Sideways fluctuating decline preceding a notable rally. So there's probably a bit of a bullish energy here around the end of the 3rd, or maybe the cusp of the 3rd, 4th. A lot of price change covered on the 4th with an important support level on a multi-day scale highlighted. A prominent peak and a prominent trough both highlighted on the 4th. A lot of price change in between, and it looks like it's most likely to the downside there into another prominent trough. Most likely that's a lowest low there on the cusp of the 2nd, 3rd, a lowest low thus far, and then another lowest low thus far, slightly lower than the first lowest low thus far there on the 4th. Some crazy like whipsaw action taking place here at the beginning of the month is my sense. Probably even out of the very end of March. Some crazy whipsaw action probably has to do with the eclipses and Mercury retrograde station direct. Either way, I would look for sideways rotation at a key support as the bottom for the decline here on the 4th. Sideways rotation at a lowest low thus far along key support on a multi-day scale. Likely there's somebody speaking either here at the very, very beginning of the month or speaking here on the 4th, or maybe it's both. And what they're speaking about, it seems as though some of it can be relied upon. Not all of it can be trusted. So be very mindful of that stuff. Probably has to do with... I'd imagine it has to do with economics, obviously. The Ace of Discs involved, most likely. In any case, a lot of price change to the upside on the 7th into a highest high thus far. And then that's followed by likely a significant decline, or that rally turns over, creating a crest, and there's a significant decline on the 8th into a prominent trough. And possibly a lowest low there it's probably a lowest low thus far on the 8th and a lowest low period either on the cusp of the 8th, 9th, or on morning of the 9th. But that's the lowest low for the month there. Highest probable location. And then there's this huge move to the upside out of it, reaching for distant resistance. Another prominent peak, possibly a highest high. Not the most reliable to count on it being a highest high, but another prominent peak there, reaching for distant resistance on the 9th, and a trade opportunity we're going to talk about in a moment. So here on the 10th, we either open lower and there's this huge move to the upside, or we just have a continued move higher here on the 10th. Most likely this isn't here on the 9th, the highest high. It'll be a prominent peak. And then on the 10th, we've got more movement to the upside, either out of oversold territory or it's like a gap up of some kind there. And we likely hit key resistance here on the 10th or the 11th. Another move to the upside on the 11th and a prominent peak there midday. Sideways rotation on the 14th. Most likely we have a highest high thus far here on the 14th. Sideways rotation ending with a fast sudden move higher. That move higher doesn't hold, turns into a decline on the 15th. That decline likely turns over or into a rally by end of the day on the 15th. Either that or it'll do so on the 16th, but most likely it's on the towards the end of the day on the 15th. It'll be like an unexpected move higher out of the decline at the end of the day on the 15th. Then we get into a mixed sideways S formation within a channel on the 16th. So we usually, what that mean is that we're at resistance and we decline from that all the way to a key support, reverse off of the support and retrace all the way back to that original resistance, and then reverse off the resistance and retrace all the way back to the support, creating a sideways S within a channel, sometimes horizontal, sometimes to the downside. My sense is it's probably horizontal here, with a peak towards the end of the day or around the cusp of the 16th, 17th, and then there should be like a U-shaped dip with another peak at the end of the day on the 17th. I believe this is Good Friday here on the 18th. And then we likely open higher on the 21st, or there's some sort of like tricky chart behavior intended to make us do the wrong thing impulsively here on the 21st. So there's probably some like move to the downside, might open lower or something, but there's a huge move to the upside on the 21st. Rally continues into the 22nd, where we most likely have a highest high for the month of April. And it looks like it probably turns over into pretty erratic behavior there by the end of the day on the 22nd or early in the day on the 23rd. But we're in erratic behavior back and forth through the same price level on the 23rd. In the midst of that erratic behavior, we most likely are revisiting a high there. There's a fake breakout. I'm advised not to chase a breakout towards the end of the day on the 23rd. On the 24th, a rally from probably opening up a lower price level, rally along a diagonal trend line, breaking the horizontal resistance, meeting another resistance, and then pulling back to somewhere between those two price levels. There is possibility of a highest high for the month here on the 25th, but there's a much stronger possibility of it here on the 22nd. Either way, there's a prominent move through key resistance. We stay above that resistance briefly on the 25th and then break back down through it shortly thereafter with a full retracement. A lot of notable reversal taking place on the 29th. It's even possible that that's a highest high. It's just, I put this as the highest high because after it gets pretty choppy and there's a lot of opportunity to be wrong or to do the wrong thing impulsively. So I like to get out at the safest, most reliable exits and get out early with a profit and just reposition. But I'm going to indicate this over here because this is a possible location of a highest high again. It might be that we're seeing it more than once. My strongest sense is that it's here on the 22nd, but the highest high could be anywhere between the 21st and the 28th, really. I really think it's probably here on the 22nd. Either that or it's like consecutively higher into the end of the month. But we've got this notable reversal on the 28th to the downside. A peak at the beginning of the day on the 29th with a lot of price change off of that peak to the downside into a prominent trough. And then there's sideways rotation along key support on a 1-month scale minimum. A big move to the upside on the 30th, pushing the upper end of a range higher. And what's interesting is that this is also, the Aeon card is a cross-reading congruency on the 1 year for the high card for May. So it may be that we're seeing continued decline. It's hard to say if we should read into it without doing the May reading. Stay tuned for the May reading. It should be coming out relatively soon. A sneak preview, there's a near overbought crest that will sell off from through multiple support levels in May. All right, guys, now I'm going to give you the best trades that I see, what we expect to be trading on a swing trade level throughout the month of April. It's important to understand, guys, you should not be trading this information without access to the Discord trade alerts. This is a guide to expectations to prove to you that extrasensory perception works and can be used practically in the real world. But sometimes we're off. Sometimes the timing is plus or minus a day here. Occasionally we're just wrong. It happens occasionally. But for the most part, timing's good. Even so, without the Discord trade alerts that I'm going to show you how to get at the end of this video, do not trade this info. If you're serious about it, you'll get that early access subscription. So stay tuned for that. In any case, I think we've got a pretty significant peak here around the last day of March. We declined pretty notably, so probably off of a peak there. And then probably a sharp like whipsaw action going on the second. So my sense is that if we're at a highest high on the 20 on the second, that would be an opportunity to open up a short. It would be a sideways rotation, then a big move higher, taking us into a highest high thus far, possibly. If we don't see a highest high thus far there, then the trades fail. But either way, if we do see it there, you open up a short, you could likely close a short by the end of the day for a day trade, or more likely you close it on the third or on the fourth. I would go for the third if third is profitable. If the third isn't profitable, then I would wait for the fourth, and that would be the last backup that I'd want to be in. On the third, more likely on the sideways fluctuating decline, you'd open up a partial long. You'd be able to close that partial long either on the fourth early in the day, or more likely on the seventh after this huge move to the upside. I say a partial long because there's a possibility that we go lower on the fourth. So partial long on the third. If we go lower into a lowest low thus far on the fourth, then I would add to it. Either way, close out of it here towards the end of the day on the 7th, most likely. There's going to be this whipsaw action here, so likely you could get into a short position there when you close the long and close the short position at lowest lows around the cusp of the 8th, 9th. At those lowest lows, you could open up a long, close the long on the 9th after a huge move to the upside. And if I'm wrong about the 9th, then you wait till the 10th. If the 10th isn't good enough, then wait till the 11th. If the 11th isn't good enough, then wait till the 14th. A lot of backups for a long exit there. I'd want to get into so I'd wait for this decline here off of a peak from the 14th into the 15th, and I'd hop into gradual partial long and then add to it if we go lower, because there's a chance we go higher at the end of the day, so I don't want to miss the opportunity, but there's also a chance that we don't. Either way, I'd want to be in a long position to exit probably here towards the end of the day on the 17th, or you could risk holding it until the 21st where there's that intentional fake out or shakeout, so you might get scared out if you do. Know thyself, know your risk tolerance. And then here on the 22nd, I would open up a partial short, close along and open up a partial short. And I say partial just in case we go higher like later in the week, because that is an alternate possibility. And if we do go higher on the 25th, I would add to it. If there's more opportunity on the 28th, I would add to it, and I would look to hold the short position there. Looks like probably into the following month, or actually you could probably close out of the short position end of the day here on the 29th for a pretty solid gain. Those are the best trades that I see. Remember, this is a guide to our expectations. Sometimes things change, and that's why you want access to the early access subscription, where we cover everything in real time. You go to our website, Tarot for Traders, hover over Order Now, click on Subscriptions. Early access subscription is $100 right now, vastly underpriced for what you get. You make that back in one trade easily. It gets you the earliest access to any of our public posts possible here on our early access videos link channel. So before anything public comes out on YouTube, it comes out there. Also gets you access to our live Discord day trade alerts and live Discord swing trade alerts, as well as the live TradingView chart links with the chart drawings. Examples of that. These are examples on a swing trade kind of basis. For anybody that's new to the channel, red is where we expect reversals to the upside to form, green to the downside. And we have instructions here, close shorts, highest high thus far for the month. Lots of information. Usually we're on point with those drawings. Sometimes we're not. That's like this grayed out one here we missed. So, occasionally we're not on point. Sometimes we're off a little bit, but when the majority of these are on point. All that stuff is updated as part of the early access subscription, where you also get access to our live stream questions. People ask questions here throughout the week, and they're answered on the next available live, the day trade Discord alerts and swing trade alerts. These are game-changing services, guys. If you're serious about trading this information, you must have these services. Much love and appreciation, everybody that goes ahead and supports the channel with that. For considering what you're getting out of it, the most accurate form of analysis in history, on repeat regularly, considering that, it's a really good thing to do, guys. It's good karma to support the channel like that. So much love and appreciation. Blessings to all my angel investors. I'll see you guys on the next one.